You're listening to Creatively Geeky, the support group for your creative process.
Welcome out to the Creatively Geeky Show. I'm your host for the evening, Eugene Stevens. I'm joined by Kris and Ray. How are y'all doing?
I'm excited that you hit record.
Yes, absolutely. What was the last? Oh, Marginally Geeky. If you listen to the Marginally Geeky Show, we got 10 minutes in or so before I went, oh, hey, guess what? I didn't hit record.
It was just like
It's a couple minutes.
It was only a few minutes. It wasn't that bad.
Okay, it seemed like a lot longer, but anyway, this is our media catch-up episode. So tonight we'll be discussing what we've been watching and listening to and all that good stuff. So with that being said, would anyone like to go first?
Me, I guess. It's looking at me.
All right, Kris, what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? YouTube videos. I can't, because there's no new things out yet. I'm waiting for Bridgerton, which comes out in September. So that will be my new thing. And we haven't been watching The Witcher because I want to wait for the whole thing to come out before we watch it. So,
I haven't been watching it either.
sorry. Shh.
It's good.
We have our windows open, and one of our neighbors. Stop, Wicket. He's
a
stop.
jerk.
He's alerting us to possible
There
vagrants.
might be a child outside, or
Oh,
something.
yes.
Our neighbor is getting some work done on the front of our house, and so somebody's been out there the whole time, and he's just not having it.
Mm-hmm.
Completely inappropriate, isn't it?
Doesn't irritate me at all.
Anyway, I haven't been watching anything other than like a couple of YouTubers that I like to watch and put out new videos, and that's kind of it. So I've been rewatching The Office, but that's just noise. That's
nice.
It. That's boring. That's a boring answer.
No, like the only thing that like I have been watching a little bit of stuff the last few nights because I've been by myself with my wife and the boys. Went to the beach, and so the last several nights I've come home from work, and I literally sat down and maybe started going through the different services, writing down things that I haven't watched, and the list just kept getting longer and longer. And I'm just like, all right, what am I going to watch? And I've settled on Rick and Morty. Like I'm getting caught up on Rick and Morty because they finally updated some of it. But Witcher was on there as well. I was just like, yeah, I could start this.
Yeah,
but man, can I cut off a complete hour? Like that is so weird that I'm to the point in my life I'm like, can I definitely dedicate 45 to 60 minutes for something? Like I know I can do 20. I know I can do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ray, what have you been watching?
I've been watching my wife almost break our window. I get it. Sorry.
It's all good.
I just, as you were lifting, all I could see was the glass. So the plastic was coming away and there was the glass. Anyway, sorry.
I was trying to be helpful.
Thank you for that. We do appreciate that.
No. Anyway. What have I been watching? I have been watching Secret Invasion, and I'm enjoying it.
I haven't watched it yet.
I won't give anything away. I like James.
Hi, how are you?
Samuel L. Jackson.
There we go.
And I appreciate the story.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain scene that happened today that I know Kris quite enjoyed between him and someone else, and I will not give that away for you at all because I just think it was a great one line. So
it was a good one, yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I've been watching mostly. Other than that, watching NHL news and stuff because it's the off season, and I don't think anything else really.
Yeah, like I know it's been 2 months, and I'm for sure certain I've watched something new, but I don't think it's a good sign that it didn't stick in my brain. So,
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I guess it's not worthy of. When we're done, of course, I'm going to think of like 8 different things.
Right? Yeah. Well, yeah. As we've been talking, I literally have thought of 2 other things that I could have said. I could say so. I guess to fill time, I'll just kind of fill in with those things. So yeah, I went back and watched, I think season 5 of Rick and Morty, because I honestly I was like, have I watched this? And I started going through the episodes. I was like, I think I remember that. I think I remember that. I'll just go ahead and start right here. So I've been watching Rick and Morty at nights when it's just me here at the house. The first night though, on Hulu, there was a 3-part series, a 3-part documentary series on oh my god, I'm forgetting what is the name. Ashley Addison. No,
Ashley Madison.
The thing that happened a few years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I had heard about it because when it hit the news. So for anyone who doesn't know, Ashley Madison was a website that like the whole thing was to get people, if you were looking to cheat on your partner, it was a way to find other people who were interested in cheating. Yes. And that's pretty much all I knew about it. Well, the reason it came to light is because their company got hacked a few years back. And so I thought, well, okay, that's what the gist of this is going to be talking about. And yes, that was the major thing in the story, or in this document series. But like it talks about a lot of the business stuff that was behind it and everything, like the fact that men paid but women did not. And before they got hacked, there was to the point there were lawsuits because they were paying employees to come up with I can't remember what they called them. But anyway, they were fake female accounts. And they were supposed to just kind of start conversations. These were very simple chat bots at the time, so they really couldn't carry a conversation. Yeah. And people were like, hey, I haven't heard anything from anyone for like a month. And then all of a sudden I get 5 messages from 5 different women that all say the exact same thing. It's like something's wrong here. Anyway, this hack comes out, and I didn't realize this. They weren't asking for money. They were basically saying, you're a bad business, shut down, or I release everything.
Yeah.
And of course, they decided not to shut down, and they released all this stuff. Yeah. And it did get several people, some high priority people, out in the media, in trouble. Here's the thing that kills me. Did you know this website is still around?
Yes.
I did not know that. I thought, okay, well, for sure, this was the end. No one's gonna ever go. No, apparently they're just as big as they were beforehand. I'm just like, did y'all learn nothing? Nothing at all.
The company. They're 2 guys from Canada that created it.
I'm just like, it's one thing, and it's funny because there was one guy that was on there. They're like, well, yes, it was cheating people, but it was also swingers were starting to use it, and they're just like, but there are specific apps for that now. Like if you're in the swinger lifestyle, like they have an app that you use, or they have certain communities that you use. And like some of the things that people were kind of using it for, that's what it wasn't really for, have gone on to do their own stuff. And yet this thing they keep making money. And I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like I
have a theory that it's the rise of the Andrew Tates. Right, like it's these men who feel like it's their right to be able to cheat on their significant others. Like that's what you do. Your wife is this. You don't do those things with your wife. You do those things with the side chick. Yeah.
It could be. I mean, I don't know. It just kind of blew my mind when I'm sitting there watching it, especially get to the 3rd episode, and I'm just like, all right, well, this is where it collapses. And I mean, the guy who founded it, him and his wife have kind of gone off and done whatever, and they're just like, no, the company's still going, and it still has millions upon millions of subscribers. And I'm just like, what? So it just kind of blew my mind. Anyway, the original thing that I was going to say that I watched was on Sunday I went and watched Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I don't want to give anything away about this movie because this is not normally a review show. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really want to go see it again just so that I can, sometimes you see something and you watch it again and it either increases your like for it or decreases it. And it's one of those situations. I want to see it again so that I can kind of see, I know what to expect and can kind of just sit back and enjoy it. But the comment that I made, on social media coming out of this movie was Indiana, in my opinion, Indiana Jones movies are just the opposite of Star Trek movies. It's the odd ones that are the good ones. Because that's been the running joke with Star Trek was the even ones.
So
The Wrath of Khan, The Voyage Home, The Undiscovered Country, 246. Those were the good ones. So in this case for Indiana Jones, it would be Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Last Crusade, and Dial of Destiny. Now, I know some people are going to be like, well, what about Temple? I like Temple for what it is. It's got some good scenes in it.
Yeah.
But for me, Indiana Jones is fighting Nazis. And that's what he's doing in this movie again, is fighting Nazis. One thing I will say about this movie is I think Disney has finally figured out how to do really good age reversal, because you cannot tell. Like he looks, he talks, he just acts like 80s Indiana Jones when it does have the flashback scenes.
My only
go on.
My only question is, there was only 4 movies.
Well, we kind of have to admit the other one happened. Just
no, we don't.
I don't know. I can't remember if it was on our back channel conversation where I actually listed all of my Indiana Jones picks, the 11 part list.
Yeah. Not there, because it doesn't exist.
I will say there is reference to at least one of the characters from that movie in there, and it actually is meaningful in this movie. So it's kind of crazy. No, believe me, when you watch it, you'll be like, no, I'm okay with that. That was meaningful. That wasn't just like, oh no, he's in the other room and he can't come out because he's doing something. It's nothing. It's not stupid like that. It's actually very good. But anyway, if you enjoyed the original Indiana Jones movies, go see it. This was definitely a legacy movie. And I will say, and my partner at work is like, he's a huge Indiana Jones fan, to the point that he's even like, he doesn't dress up very much. He doesn't do very much cosplay, but that's one of his go-to characters. But we are introduced to some new characters in this movie that I like their chemistry. And to be quite honest with you, if we get another movie and it's not Indiana Jones, it's just these people's adventure, and maybe Indiana shows up as just like, kind of give some backstory or something like that. Like if this is a passing the torch type thing, I would be okay with it. Like I the whole time sitting there watching, I'm like, I don't know if I like. No, I do. No, actually, I really do like these characters. Like by the end of the movie, I'm like, I would watch more stuff with these characters in it. So. Right. It's fun, and I'm part of me is kind of hoping that's what they were setting up. So, but we'll see. So, it's doing okay at the box office. So, that will of course depend on whether they keep going or not. So,
I'd like to see it
at the theater.
Yeah, in town.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going.
It's worth your time. It is definitely worth your time.
By myself, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Well,
the reason I went and watched it by myself instead of going with the boys was because we've watched Raiders, but we haven't watched anything else. We just got off on doing other things, and it fell through the cracks. I'm like, no, I need to get them back into watching the other movies, and then if they want to go see it, I will definitely take them to see it again. So,
yeah.
All right, let's talk about what we've been listening to. Kris,
I thought of 2 shows.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I have never watched the Indiana Jones trilogy. I have seen bits and parts of the 4th one. I saw a little bit of the 1st one. I know kind of enough through social, like pop culture osmosis.
I watched Temple of Doom here. She was on her phone.
Yeah. Anyway, so he put the trilogy on in, as a homage to the new movie coming out. And I'm watching, I'm like, I don't like these. I think if I was a kid watching this, I would have really, really loved them. And it would have had that whole nostalgia thing for me. But like watching it as a 41-year-old adult woman, I'm like, I don't like any of this. This is all stupid. And Quinn didn't either. He couldn't even get into them.
Quinn didn't get into them.
I was bored.
Yeah.
I don't know what it probably says more about me than the movies. So I did watch most of the 2nd one, and then the 3rd one I just
she checked out
checked out because I didn't care.
And then Sean Connery shows up and she's like, oh cool, and then right back
and then back down. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Okay, there's no saving her on this one.
No.
If Sean Connery doesn't save it, because oh my god, their chemistry is some of the.
And it was really good.
Was fantastic.
And I watched those little bits because I knew that through the pop culture osmosis that's who he was and all that stuff. So I did watch that. And then the second thing was we watched. Do you remember American Gladiators?
Yes, and I've been meaning to watch that show.
It's so good. It's on Netflix. It's the unauthorized documentary.
Yeah.
So there's I think there's like 5 or 6.
There's 5 or 6 of them. Yeah.
The Gladiators.
A couple of producers
who are actually involved in all this. So they just go through from the very beginning all the way to the end, and just it was a massive shit show. Just a huge shit show.
Wow.
And the amount of physical exertion and demand, and just the way that these people's bodies were beat up for the duration, like they're lucky that they have mobility at all, because
they got taken advantage
huge. Like they have made no money off of this, like whatsoever. It was bare minimum that they got paid. And then so they talked about steroid use. They talked about all getting tested but not getting tested. The very beginnings of the pilot, where people were just wearing like glorified foam and stuff, and the injuries they sustained from that to sets all this
the
stuff.
Games, the evolution of the games as well was really interesting.
It was really cool. But
maybe we shouldn't do this on concrete.
Maybe not, because these are actual people, and so.
Oh my god! Now I'm wishing I had been watching that instead of Rick and Morty.
It's really good. It's on Netflix. Because we watched it when we were kids, and then Quinn kind of caught glimpses of Logan's at camp, so Quinn's at home. So that's why we have to mention Logan. So he's just like, well, that looks cool. I would like to do that. And it's the tennis ball one where you're shooting at people.
Yes.
So he's like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, it's so awesome. Yeah. But so we watched that. So what am I listening to?
Oh,
real quick before you go, Ray, what were you gonna say?
So just we were talking about Sean Connery showing up. Mm-hmm. I have decided I can't pick who I prefer, Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sean Connery saying Junior. I think it's a tie.
Such a dad joke.
You were saying?
I was gonna say yes. American Gladiators. When there was a very distinct time in my life. I guess it was middle school, early high school. Yeah, it was around that age, middle school, early high school. Saturday nights, the Fox affiliate here played. I want to say it was, if I remember correctly, it was American Gladiators followed by Star Trek: Next Generation.
Oh, okay.
There's your evening.
Every Saturday night,
yeah.
My friends came over to my house. We plopped down. It was usually kind of an even split as to who we were pulling for, who we wanted to see win in American Gladiators. And then we watched Star Trek and we talk about it, and then usually eat something. And then if we were into a movie, we'd watch the movie or we'd play games or whatever. Like that was Saturday nights for me. And
awesome.
I really wish I had started watching that now. I mean, Rick, don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying watching Rick and Morty, but
it's not going anywhere.
That was such a huge part of my life. All right. So Kris, what have you been listening to?
Harry Potter.
It's your go-to.
So I found that I go through cycles of like, okay, I just want to listen to like, I only listen to like 2 podcasts, and I'm like, I'll listen to all the crap that they've put out, and I'm like really into that, and I don't listen to any audiobooks. And then I'm like, okay, well now I'm bored with that, so now I'm just gonna listen to audiobooks, and I've been making my way through Harry Potter again. I feel like this is just going to be a yearly thing for me, because I think this is like the 5th or 6th time I've listened to it.
Fair enough.
And I'm on Goblet of Fire, and I'm near the end. I think I only have like 2 hours left, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's it. I used to be very into music when I was a teenager, all the CDs, all the albums, all that. And then as I've gotten older, as the way that music is released and distributed, because I don't have, it's a very like squirrel thing. Like, unless it's like I can't have the whole physical copy with me, I don't bother listening to it. Mm-hmm. And so music hasn't been huge on that. Although I have discovered I am a bit of a Paramore fan, and I am sort of going through a delayed emo phase. I was like, oh, okay, I really like this. So those are but it's like all these just songs though, and not albums. Like I don't know if I could sit down and listen to an entire album like I could when I was younger.
Mhm.
But I like the hits. I sound so old. Oh my god.
No, I'm totally the same way. Like I put my phone on random and it's one song, two songs, maybe three songs from an album that occasionally show up. But I'm just, for the most part, I'm just like, when you were younger, you're listening to it and you're like, no, I like it the way it flows. And I like how they kind of talk and, they go into it. And you get a little older and you're just like, yeah, there were like 3 hits and a lot of these were filler.
Yeah, I don't have time for that anymore. I just don't want to listen to it, right? Like you had no choice when you were like,
oh yeah,
you had to, right?
Yeah.
Now, like
Especially on tape.
Yeah, especially on the
I gotta
tape.
fast
Like,
forward. Shit, I missed it. Gotta rewind.
Yep.
Anyway, sounds so delicate, don't we? But yeah, so that's not.
You're not into music. Back in my day, we had to listen to the whole thing.
Yep.
So yeah, so I'm listening to Goblet of Fire, and Quinn and I started re-listening to Earthside for your pick. So
Okay.
yeah, and I'm excited. It throws me that he changed Kevin's voice.
Yeah.
It took me a few chapters to be like, I like Kevin's voice before.
Yeah, I agree. I liked his voice better before too. So.
Oh, but now I don't care because I'm like, whatever. I've already listened to it. It's fine. I know what happens. So yeah.
Ray, what have you been listening to?
So I've been listening to 2 books that are not on our lists at all.
Okay.
One is called The Fearless Organization. It's by Amy C. Edmondson. She originally set out to look up. It was her thesis for her doctorate or something like that. Anyway, so she was looking into teamwork and how she thought like the best teams would actually have the least amount of errors. And when they got into the research, and she made sure it was a double blind, like the people didn't know what they were looking for, and they collected the data. And when she looked at it, it actually showed the reverse. The best teams actually showed that they had more errors. So she dug deeper into it and did another blind study so she had somebody go find the data for her, but she didn't say why, and she also didn't give any indication as to what the original data had showed. And what it turns out was you need a psychologically safe work location, so you need to be safe to actually bring up your ideas at work. You need to be able to challenge your bosses, because when you are not in a safe place, you create a silence, and the silence era is like the deadliest thing to a company, because it means that nobody's going to bring anything up to you. Nobody's going to talk to you about what issues you see. And man, is it ever, it just,
you feel so much.
I do. I feel so much. But what it does is it affirms what I've always felt going through different work locations. And yeah, so it's a really interesting book. It's a quick read. It's free on Audible. If you're in any kind of workplace that you think maybe if you have any influence with your managers or anything like that, go take a look, because it's a good book.
Also, skills transfer over to parenting. If your children do not feel psychologically safe in your house, they're gonna lie to you. They're gonna lie and hide shit and be sneaky. If you create a psychologically safe environment, they feel safe enough to voice their opinions and feelings, whatever they are, even if they're not the same as your parents, as the parents.
It's talking. So what it does do is it talks about being candor, right? Being having the candor it's free to do, it's fair to do. Everybody's allowed their opinion. It doesn't mean you have to be. It doesn't mean you agree. It doesn't mean it actually builds in the necessity of having a diversity of thought. And only when you have a diversity of thought will you actually get to a solution that's best for everybody.
Yep.
And so it's interesting. So
cool.
I'll leave it at that for now.
What's your next one?
So the other one it's called A Dirty Job by Christopher Moore. I've been trying to think of read some things that I want to read for my next choice. This one was interesting. It was listed as one of the funnier sci-fi fantasy books. And so this guy gets married and has a kid, and he becomes death without knowing it. So he all of a sudden has the abilities of death without knowing it, and the book that describes everything that he needs to know is taken by his employee, because his employee is a teenager who has like a dark soul, and was like, ooh, and like, so she's like, oh, he doesn't like this shit, this is mine, like I'm gonna take it. And so she's reading the book. That's kind of where I'm at right now, is she knows what's going on, and he doesn't know he's deaf.
That sounds interesting.
It does. So I'm gonna try and go through it. I don't want to do any spoilers, but there are some annoying things that I've had with this book. There's definitely some sexual innuendos that I'm exactly. I don't want to talk about it. And then there's also some fixation about beta males, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Why do we beta male again and again and again? So, but other than that, if I can get past that and get into the story, then we'll see how it goes. It may be a recommendation. It may not. We'll see.
I mean, the setup sounded great, but then like the little picadillos you kind of threw out there, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see how that might be an issue. So, but let's see here.
What are you listening to?
What have I been listening to? Well, I'm just going to throw out there that I have been listening to a book. I actually finished it. I finished. Technically, it's book one, but it's not the first thing that you read in the series. But it's book one of the Witcher series, and it's Blood of Elves. It was nice listening to an entire book that was chronological and kept going and was all one part of a centralized story with The Witcher in it, as compared to here's a little short story. Now here's another one. So I did enjoy it. I almost went ahead and started the next one, but just everything that's going on with me at work right now, I'm just like, no, I'm actually having to kind of focus on some of the stuff I'm doing. And like, so literally the last half of the book, I was like, I think I'm missing some stuff. So I slowed it down to about 1/2 speed. And I was just like, okay, this is a little better because I've got a bunch of stuff going on at work right now. We're having to do a bunch of updates. So I have to kind of keep track of some stuff in my head as I'm going along. It's not completely mindless work, but whatever. The other thing, so I'm just like, well, what can I listen to? So I would hit random on my phone, just kind of listen to whatever, music or whatever. But like today, I was just kind of in a mood. I'm not extremely happy with everything that's going on with my job. So sometimes you need something that's a little rougher. So I have a playlist on my YouTube, and I was going through and listening to. Not all of their stuff is on there. There are a few of them that I didn't care for, but I have a playlist for the epic rap battles of history, and they're hilarious. But they're pretty savage, and their cuts on each other, which is just I freaking love epic rap battles of history. Had I known about it earlier, they actually did a tour before they kind of the two main guys, I think, sold off the IP and then kind of retired. And since nothing was happening with it, apparently got it back and have started doing stuff again. Cool. And so like the last one that they put out that I really liked, was that one? I think it's Indiana Jones versus Laura Croft. And to be timely. But anyway, I love them. They're fun. And had I known that they were doing a tour, I would have tried to go see them in Austin when they were in Austin, because granted, I'm just like, man, would I have been there with a bunch of bro dudes? And I'm probably, but I'm not there for bro dudes. I'm here to listen to these guys be awesome. So anyway, that's what I've kind of been listening to. So.
Nice.
Let's see. I've already forgot. What are other questions? Oh, what have you been thinking about, Kris?
Sleep.
Right now, that's what
I know. The den. The den.
That's a parlor.
Parlor.
Oh, the den.
Parlor. Sorry.
My parlor.
You have a parlor.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Right, today is it's not a good day of the thinking for me. I don't have too many profound things. Oh, so my writing. I'm trying to be far more methodical and intentional and really aware of how it triggers me. Because the first time around, it was just like the wild, wild west, balls to the wall. We're just like, I went nuts and it burnt me out creatively. And it's like, okay, well, we don't want to do that again. So thinking about that and why my therapist was talking to me, and she was talking about, and I was saying, I was writing, and then I explained what happened the first time, and she's like, that will happen when you have a need for external validation. And I'm like, oh my God, how do you know me? Like it was just this like moment, and I was like, shit, she's right. Like, she doesn't often drop bombs like that on me because our relationship is her dropping little subtle things and having me come around to the conclusion eventually, because you're far likely to follow that than if somebody's telling you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's the thing that we do. So she's done it a couple of times, and this was one of those times, and it was just like, oh. So then now I can't unsee it. It's everywhere now. And I see it in everybody else too. That's the other thing. When this happens, you start seeing it in other people too. And it's not that it's a bad thing, but it's because people, we like being told nice things about ourselves, and there's nothing wrong with that. The problem comes from when that's your sole source of your self-esteem. Like, that's the only way you're going to get any self-worth, is if somebody else tells you you're worthy, right? So that's what was sort of happening that first time. It was just like, oh my God, I've done this. And because what happens sometimes when you become a mom, you sort of lose your identity. And it was just like, okay, well, now I'm this. I'm a mom, but I'm also this, because clearly I'm nothing else. And so I kind of poured everything into it, and it was terrible. And then now it's just like, oh yeah, okay, well, we're not doing this for external validation. It will be nice if somebody likes it. That's great. But we're not like throwing all of our eggs in one basket. So I was thinking a lot about that. And yeah, like, you cannot unthink it. So she's recommended a couple of books for me to listen to. She's also really great for that too. We're like book buddies. So I recommended her The House in the Cerulean Sea.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Which she's like, I had to write that one down.
She wrote that down and put it on her list. But yeah, so it's a lot of thinking about how that affected me, obviously where it came from, which we all know 99% of your shit comes from your childhood. And then you see it in your parents, and it just keeps going. So just, making sure that while it is nice to have that, it's not like the only thing. And then friendship came up again, because obviously I haven't worked through it because it keeps coming up again. And so I've been thinking about that and what it means and what it means to me and how I'm going to go about it. And he had some good stuff, because I'm like, okay, I need you to tell me your thoughts without fixing it, which turns out that's the key phrase that you have to say when you're asking your partner.
If you tell me your thoughts, okay, well, I can tell you my thoughts,
but they're going to lead to fixing it. So tell me your thoughts, tell me your point of view without fixing it. And then, so that was very helpful, because he wound up in the course of our conversation helping me fix it.
But I didn't do any suggestions until she asked.
Until I asked. Yeah.
Nope. Okay.
Good job.
It's hard for him. It was hard because he's listening to me going like, I got like 8 things you could do right now that would make everything better. No, that's not helpful, because I'm not going to listen.
So, but that's the thing. I'm an ideas person. I love coming up with ideas. I love creating ideas. And with that, it's like, when we talk about her story, I come up with ideas and I throw stuff out at her of, hey, have you thought of this? And, because of the way that you're setting up the world, you consider this and this. And, like, I love doing that. So yeah, when I hear about things that are bugging, it's like, okay, am I listening or am I fixing? Because
you have to be specific.
No, and I know I probably do the same thing, and it's
only natural as a human when you're with somebody that you care very deeply for, and you see that they're going through something that's causing them a lot of unpleasant feelings. You want to make it better for them, and it's hard to take a step back and be like, that's not what they need from me right now. What they need from me right now is to be like, that fucking sucks. I'm sorry. And then that's it. Right?
See, my mind immediately went back to men are from Mars, women are from Venus, because that was one of the big things in it. And it's like, men tend to be the one that's like, well, here's how to fix it. Because when men talk to other men, it's like, it's asking.
Yeah.
Sometimes you are just asking, hey, I just need you to say, yeah, dude, that sucks. But a lot of times it's like, I'm having this problem. Do you have any ideas what I can do to help fix this thing? So
Yeah. So that's a lot of what I've been thinking about, is how at this point in my life, with all the therapy that I have been doing, how can I make it work for me and get through these things that are so deep rooted in me, and come out the other side in a wiser, more emotionally mature person. So that's it.
Just that.
Little things.
Yeah.
It's always just tiny little non-profound things.
Ray, what have you been thinking about?
So existential crises. No.
Oh man, let me change my answer then.
No, I have been thinking more about drawing. I was actually able to get a couple of drawings done recently because we needed some pictures up, and Kris said, I need some pictures up. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, I need a picture up near my guitar, and well, I might as well do one that I want. So I did. And then I had fun with it. I was happy with the way it turned out. So I started a different one. It was going okay. And then I got to a certain point where the charcoal that I have wasn't working for me. So I was like, okay, I need to put that on pause until I get the right charcoal, because I couldn't get the right, it just wasn't the right detail. So I started a different one as well, and I was happy with the way that one's been going. I'm going to do some more to it, I think, but and then we'll seal that one up. And then I've been thinking about how to actually convert that into T-shirts and other things. So should it be like silk screen, or should I go down the road of airbrush, or so? Yeah, just stuff.
Stuff,
Creative stuff.
Yeah. Fine. So yeah, just that kind of stuff. I don't know. Yeah, there's part of me that would love to do silk screen, but it's also more limiting, where airbrush you could do the whole shirt. So yeah.
Sorry, I've got a kitten who is clawing at the door. Apparently she wants in, and I'm just like, no, you can't come in right now.
No kitties.
So
What have you been thinking about, Eugene?
I've been thinking about retirement.
It's coming up.
I'm 11 years out. So for anyone who, hi, I'm Eugene. Not that I've never brought this up before, but no, I'm starting my 20th year with the school district that I work at. Before the show, we were discussing the wonderful time I'm having right now, this first week back. But yeah, I think the state of Texas says I've got 9 more years. My wife and I are both looking at doing 11. The way it works is they take your age and the number of years you've worked, and when you add those together, when it reaches a magic number, then you can retire. And so I think I've got 9 more years left. But I will probably go 11, just depending if my boys end up in getting a bachelor's degree, because then they would be graduating about that time. I could retire. If they decide to start having families, then if they're living close enough, Christy and I could, I've already told them, I'm like, look, I'm not going to be able to help a lot with college. Sorry, that's just not going to happen. Now, what we can do is if you do get married and have kids or adopt or whatever, if you need childcare, which is super expensive, as long as you aren't living too far away, that's kind of Christy and I's plan. That's going to be our biggest way to be able to help out our kids. Because man, that would have been so hell. I can't tell you how many thousands of dollars I spent on daycare. And now granted, my mom couldn't have retired before then. It just wasn't in the cards. So, but anyway, so I've been thinking about that. The other thing leads into one of the things that I've been doing, which along with the retirement is, we are growing out of this house that we live in. We've been in this house for 18 years now. Yes, 18 years now. And Christy really wants a guest room. But that's actually kind of negotiable. We'll talk about that. But I really need a shop, and because I'm tired of having to work a little bit here and there, and you spend 15 minutes getting everything out you need, getting set up, working, then have to spend 15, 20, 30 minutes cleaning up or whatever. And just it would be nice to be able to walk into a shop and work. And that may actually be happening pretty soon. There's the outside possibility that we may be looking at building a house, our quote unquote final home, our retirement home, here in the next year, just because of the way the market is and the way things are going. So it's kind of crazy. So I've been thinking about that. So she is being good in that she understands there's only so much money we make a month. So, we can't go super crazy. It's just the problem is the way the market is right now, like interest rates are pretty high.
Mhm.
And I know I can afford the house we're looking at in the long term. Like I know I can get this thing paid off either when I retire or shortly afterwards. I know I'm pretty sure I can get that done.
Yeah.
It's just getting to the point where we can refinance at a lower rate, because I don't really want to eat ramen every month and be able to we're not doing that because we don't have any money. Oh, that looks like a cool movie. Sorry, we're waiting for it to come out on Netflix. I don't want to have to be in that position.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been thinking a lot about.
Yeah.
And then literally I started I started back on contract earlier this week. And it's like, all right, well, 11 more years. I think I can do this. And then got basically slapped in the face. I was like, I don't know if I can do this another 11 years.
Suddenly 11 years is an eternity.
So anyway, that's what I've been thinking about has been retirement. So the last thing on our list. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
No, retirement's such a huge milestone in a person's life.
I'm like 16 years away. So
and for me, and I'm sure you're probably in the same boat, Ray. For me, retirement doesn't mean I'm going to sit around and do nothing. Retirement means I'm going to get to do all the things that I want to do. And that doesn't necessarily, yes, I'm sure Chrissy's going to do some traveling and some of that stuff. I'm like, no, I'll be able to wake up. Like I will probably be jumping out of bed, whereas I have to kind of pull myself out of bed now. I will be jumping out of bed. Why? Because I'm going to be going into my shop and I'm going to be making things that I want to make that I keep thinking, if I had more time, I could do this. If I had more time. And I'm like, I'm so excited for that. So, but yeah, so yeah, it's a big thing. And it's mainly, it's funny because, Patreon has become such a big thing, especially for people who are like YouTubers or podcasters and stuff like that. Or makers. There are a lot of makers that have a Patreon. And, I've heard people talk about, well, have you thought about trying to do your side hustle and doing a Patreon or whatever? And I'm like, I don't know if I can make enough money doing that. But someone pointed out that we're like, well, you kind of already have a Patreon. It's called your day job. Like you get paid, you are doing something for money. They are paying you to do this thing. It doesn't have to be something you particularly like or something that you are passionate about. Like that's just how you're making your money. I'm just like, yeah, that works for me. So, but yeah, it's one of those things. I'm just like, yep, just gonna keep plugging along, and eventually I'll get there. So, anyway, so what have you been doing, Kris? You been doing anything besides trying to stay awake?
I've been
Yes, you've been writing.
I've been writing.
There you go.
Just doing regular, like stuff around the house. Logan is at camp now, and she comes home in September 1st. So she's gone. Quinn got a new job.
Yay!
Nice.
What a job!
He's doing well.
And he's doing really
Good.
well. He works at McDonald's. He's working the grill.
Yeah. And the deep fryer.
But he's doing that. So that's really cool to see him that he's 15. So it's nice. Logan was 15 when she got her first job too. So he's got some stuff coming up that he would like. Also saving up for school as well. Like Logan's got about 1.5 years worth of college paid for, like college and university are different here. Like college is the 2-year, uni is the 4-year.
Mm-hmm.
But she wants to go to college. so yeah, so the house is very, very quiet, like eerily quiet. Logan, you don't realize how much
She talks a lot.
She talks a lot. I appreciate the talking a lot because I also talk a lot. So we can spend a good morning just doing nothing but chit chatting. But I know she's having the time of her life and she's having a whole lot of fun. So it's I'm happy for her. But yeah, it makes the house very quiet and yeah, so I've been doing just stuff around the house and putting around like I normally do and I went through a really big writing like pause. I just did not have the creative energy to do it. And then I remembered, I'm like, oh yeah, in August, I had said that I wanted to be at chapter 10 and I'm not even done chapter 2. So I should probably get on that. And then yesterday, Quinn and I, we had it's called mirroring. So I was writing and he was writing and we were just sort of sitting side by side doing that, which was pretty cool. Both of us were just clogged out. Neither of us did. I think I wrote maybe 400 words and him probably less, but that was really cool. The dog's been going nuts all day because people have been outside and the windows are open because it's actually.
How dare they?
I know.
I've been going on my little house tour walks every day because they make me feel good.
Good.
It's like an hour and I go by most of my favorite houses in the town because it makes me happy. So that's what I do. And it's also
nice.
Good. So doing, I have to remember that that just because I don't work doesn't mean that, like, I don't get paid to be at home doesn't mean that I'm not valuable for what I do. So it's like, it doesn't sound like much, but
I know.
What?
Did I say the same thing that I do?
What?
Which is like, you're crazy, but that I know.
I'm not crazy. That's what society tells you. If you're not making money at it, you're not.
Okay, older society tells you that. I think more modern society is just like, yeah, being home is a lot of work.
Yes. It is.
Not for my, but anyway. But yeah, so it's been like every other day. Summer's not special for me.
Mm-hmm.
The older the kids get, the more summer's not special, which is fine because I hate summer. And I feel like it's a publicity stunt. Like the companies lie to you. It's like a marketing scheme. That's what it is.
Okay. So I heard something on a podcast the other day that you're going to like this.
Okay.
The person was like, you know what? I really don't like summers, but I've been conditioned in my brain that I'm supposed to like summer. And I was thinking about why have I been conditioned to like summer? And it's because of school. Yeah. Because when you were younger, summer's when you were off from school. And then you get to stay home and go hang out with your friends and do what you want. And that was the best time. Yeah. So you've been conditioned that way. And when you get older and you get a job, bullshit job, makes you work year round or whatever. Or if you do have one that even if you are off, like in my case, I am off for several weeks during summer, you're supposed to be conditioned, but like, it's summer, I'm off, but it's hot and I don't want to do anything. So yes, we've been conditioned to think that way.
Thank you. So this summer, I'm like, because all I hear all winter long is from all these Canadians, because we experience 4 very specific seasons here in Canada. It's very severe. They're all very individual. And so as soon as it starts turning cold, we get all the fucking people are like, oh, so I wish it was summer. Oh, I can't wait to be this. And they all go away to their little snowbird places and shit so they don't have to experience winter. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to do this to you all summer long. I want it to be fall. I'm bitch. It's Halloween. Yes. All the fall lattes, pumpkin spice. I'm doing it all summer long till it's actually fall because I hate summer. Also, for me, it's a very claustrophobic experience because it just feels stifling. I hate sweating for no reason. I hate humidity. I don't like it. When the kids were little, it was fun because, you could take them to the beach and we had a really great mom group. And then again, when you're a kid, it's fantastic because you have no responsibilities for 2 months. It's fantastic. Mm-hmm. And then where we grew up, we were latchkey kids. So your parents didn't know where you were. You do whatever the hell you want. It was like freedom.
Yeah.
Exactly. But now it's just like, oh, this feels like a lie.
It is. It is a lie.
Wow, this is just, I feel like this is like a made up Hallmark holiday, and I'm just supposed to just suddenly love it. And I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate summer. I want it to be fall. I want it to be winter. I want to wear jogging pants and a hoodie on purpose because it's cold out.
I know some people. This is one thing that you would like about living here in the U.S. Even with the heat. I know several people on Facebook that have over the last year or so. The whole thing. Like, all right, well, in my case, Thanksgiving's over, Christmas season.
Yeah.
Get out the decorations. Start decorating for Christmas. So they're taking that to other things as well. And here in the United States, the last holiday we just had was the 4th of July. Well, good. Well, good. While we do technically have another holiday coming up, which is Labor Day, that's not, or I'm sorry, while we do have another holiday coming up, it's not something we really like super celebrate or whatever. So our next big holiday is Halloween. And I know people who are literally like, it's July 5th. Time to pull out the Halloween decorations and start going.
Yes.
But I know y'all have Thanksgiving first.
So for us with the Christmas tree stuff, it's usually after Remembrance Day. Remembrance Day is November 11th because we have Thanksgiving in October. So
right.
So that's usually when Christmas, I do it on December 1st and they are down December 31st.
Yep.
And I only do a tree. I'm such a Scrooge, but it's for me, because we're surrounded by people. Like his mother loves the beach. She loves the heat. My mom is obsessed with it. My sisters too. I've been like being a bit of a bitch to her about. So I've been sending her all these things and like posting with, winter, and she's like, fuck you, and I'm like, I love it. Can't you wait till it's like minus 15?
Snowing.
It's snowing and it's
feels a little cold outside when you and kind of bundle up a little bit.
See your breath, all that stuff. So I'm like, no, this year I'm tired of pretending that summer's fantastic. I'm really done pretending. I don't care anymore. It sucks. It's hot. Relatively speaking, because I mean, it's the same temperature here as it is in Australia, and that's the winter. So like, it's just, I don't like it. It's too frenetic. Everybody's like, all of a sudden, it's like, this is the only time you can do anything all year long. It's just these 2 months. That's it. You get no other time. So just do all the things all at once. Everybody's posting their shit on social media. Like, we live at the beach days, all this kind of crap. And it's just like, you can do that in the fall. You just can't go swimming. And most of you aren't even swimming anyway. You're just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that too.
Yeah.
But they can't get tanned.
Yes, you can. You can get a winter burn. That's a thing. And then parties. And it just feels to me like it's such a put on. Like, this is the only time you can ever do any of this. And there's no other time. So you must do it now. And if you don't, you've wasted your summer. You've wasted your summer. You've wasted your life, and you're screwing up somehow. That's the other message too. It's just like, no, I'm going to be a spooky witch bitch this entire summer, and I'm going to complain. All you people who complain in the winter.
I'm thinking about bringing out that shovel soon. So
September 1st, I'm here for it. Like as soon as Logan gets home, we're done. Let's start putting up Halloween decorations.
I think I've got a reminder that is supposed to pop up October or August 1st for me to start working on my second set of tombstones. So because it took so much longer to get the first set done, I'm going to give myself plenty of time to get the second set done. So
that's not, I guess, me doing that. I'm sabotaging people's summer. So maybe that's what I'm doing.
No, you're not. They don't have to follow. You do you, girl. So, Ray, what have you been doing?
Working, and then obviously I did some drawings, which was fun. I was able to get the gesso part of one of my paintings ready to go as well. So I guess some spoilers for next episode. I'll share pictures about that stuff later. Just kind of puttering around, doing some stuff around the garage a little bit. I had to fix stairs.
Oh yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So the previous owner, or previous owner, decided to use 2x4 and screws to put the stairs on the deck, the porch up to our house. Which the sheer strength of screws is, robust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. That's totally why you would choose a screw for that
Yeah.
mechanical connection.
Yeah. Because, a thin screw sheer strength is amazing. Like, it's fascinating. So anyway, never heard of risers before, or any type of any type of support at all, I guess, really. So I had to put those in.
Jeez, that sucks.
One bad heavy foot stomp from putting his foot through the hole.
Oh no, it wouldn't have even taken that.
Okay, me, it would have taken.
You would have me, if I had a slip, I would have been going through for sure.
Oh, and I had slipped on those stairs too, so I'm sure that didn't help.
No, and I had as well. But if any more pressure than a step, like a normal step for me, that sucker was going down.
Yeah.
So I was like, nope, this isn't good.
Yeah, that's not good.
Especially being on the front of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm. Yay.
And then driving. Well, we pick up Logan and stuff too. And yeah. Lots of talking. Lots of stuff.
Just being here, and we
existing.
choose,
Lots of existing.
Yeah, we don't do fast pace.
Oh yeah, totally.
We're not those people. We know those people. We're not those people. No.
I will never forget when y'all came down to visit. Do y'all realize that's been
6
years, almost 6 years.
Almost 6 years, yes, because Logan was 11, now she's 17.
Yeah, because I'll be 46 this year. When y'all came down to visit on my 40th, Christy going, I'm sorry, we're kind of boring, and you went, no, that's perfect. So
visit. Are you
kidding
me?
Are you want to chill? This is how you exist.
We're gonna play games tonight. Sounds good. Let's just chill.
Yep.
Because the other part is that you didn't know we were coming, so the planning capabilities were pretty slim. Like there wasn't a whole lot Christy could do.
No.
True.
We had only planned it in like 2 months, so yeah, there wasn't a whole lot she could plan without you being like, why are we doing this all of a sudden?
I still love the video, by the way. We do have to splice the two videos together.
All right, well, let's see. What have I been doing? I've been updating a freaking lot of computers at work, but I'm not going to talk about that. I haven't been doing a lot of stuff. I did work on a couple of projects, and we'll talk about that on the next episode that I've gotten done. I've been exhausted from work this last week, so literally I've come home and just watched television, which is, y'all know me, that is not normally what I do. Like normally I've got to get something going, something done, or whatever. I will point this out though. So for Father's Day, I got this kit that adds light and sound to my Lego Ecto that's sitting actually right here. And last night I had to take apart the things that I had already put together because it was missing a bag of cables. And I contacted the company on Sunday and never heard back from them, and checked Amazon yesterday. And it was like, well, what's the last I can return this? And it was like tomorrow. So I'm like, so let me undo all the work that I've done. Luckily I wasn't like super far into it, but yeah, like my Ecto right now looks kind of gap toothed on the front of it because I've had to take several things. And I was like, I'm not putting these back on there because I'm sure I'm going to buy another kit. I say that, although normally when you send something back on Amazon, it's like, well, how can we make this better? Do you want a refund? Do you want us to exchange it? And normally I would be like, yes, exchange it. I want this product. I just want all of it.
Yeah.
And it didn't give me that option. It just gave me the refund option. So I've got to sit down and be like, are they not making this kit anymore? Is this what the problem is? Am I gonna have to go find a different kit or something? So anyway, I will eventually add lights and sound to this thing because it's the light on my Optimus Prime is too cool. I'm like, no, I have to have the Ecto doing the lights and sound and everything because it'll be awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of what I've been working on. So well, I guess that is it for our show this month. Real quick before we go, I've already said this on some of the other shows. I'm putting it out there as well. Usually I kind of end this show with, you can check us out on Google, iTunes, or Stitcher is one of the ones I've been listing. And Stitcher is no longer going to be doing podcasts starting in August. So probably this will be the last. If you were listening to us on Stitcher, this will be probably the last episode you will get on Stitcher. I would prefer you go find a different way to listen to the shows. Supposedly they were purchased by Sirius XM back in like 2020, and this is a change they've slowly been kind of rolling out. Supposedly they're going to be adding podcasts to Sirius XM to their site or something or another. I don't know exactly how that's working. They have not really put out some information. Most people are just telling everyone, hey, if you listen to us on Stitcher, go check it out on the Android platform or on iTunes or something or other. But if there is a platform on Sirius XM and that's your preferred way of listening to the show, shoot me an email, epicallygeekysite@gmail.com, or message us through some of the social media stuff and let me know, because otherwise I'm not planning on listing it there, just because it was such a nightmare to get on Stitcher in the first place. Like, it took months and months and months to finally get on there, and for apparently no reason at all. So if you would, though, if you are listening on Google or iTunes or any other way, if you give us a high rating, that would definitely help out. You can always find us at epicallygeeky.com, where you can find the rest of the shows we do, including the Epically Geeky Show, the Sustainably Geeky Show, and the Marginally Geeky Show. We also have merch now. So there's a merch tab up there. So if you want the logo for this show or any of the other ones that we do on a shirt, you can click on it and you can find our merch store, including if you Canada, that we've got a shirt for that too. Where can we find you online, Kris?
On Instagram at Moody Midlife and Threads at Moody Midlife.
Right.
I'm going to try it. Twitter was a disaster. I'm hoping so far it's not any different.
I'll be honest with you. I did like most other people did and said, yeah, just go ahead and follow everyone just to be done with it. I go on there and post for the Ghostbuster stuff.
Yeah.
I have yet to read anything off of it.
It's very like visually overwhelming without, like, because there's no pictures, which is great, but just the way that
you can do pictures.
You can, but most people don't. They just
You're right. Yeah, true.
For text, right? So what you're seeing, then you start seeing people that you don't even know, and you're like, what is this? What is this? And then somebody you followed had commented on something and it showed the thing. And I'm like, I don't care about that.
And they have said eventually they are going to add a just followers version of it. But for right now, it's all algorithm.
All the stuff, like all of it. And it's like, this is too overwhelming. I can spend about a minute doing this. And then I'm like, I have to stop. So anyway, but you could find me there if you want.
Yep. Ray, where can we find you online?
The Reluctant Yeti and Instagram and Threads as well. And fixing up Sean's mistakes on Wikipedia. That fucker. Oh.
It's a full-time job.
Listen, I get it, but Alaska is not part of Canada. Okay,
It should be. It just should. Geographically, it just makes
sense.
Can
you just ban him at this point? Before I go with my normal, follow me on, all the different social stuff. So I have, over the last month or so, I've done a big push as the team lead for the Austin Ghostbusters, trying to get our SEO fixed, done, trying to get, so if you search for Austin Ghostbusters, it shows us. So I have been posting almost every single day on the Austin Ghostbusters social media stuff. A lot of that stuff has been the creative stuff I've been working on, because a lot of it tends to be props and stuff. So I will say this. If you want to check out some of the cool props that I've been making here recently, go check out Austin Ghostbusters on Instagram. That's probably the best way to check it out. I mean, you can check it out on Facebook as well, but go check out Austin Ghostbusters on Instagram, and you'll see a lot of the props and stuff that I've been making. You'll see a lot of the props and stuff that some of my other team members have been making. And then you'll also see a ton of pictures from the conventions and stuff, where we do pictures with other cosplayers and families and kids and everyone else, just, come and do pictures or whatever. So I'm gonna give it a plug for that real quick. But otherwise, if you want to follow my individual wacky adventure, you can find me at Optimus Gene on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. For everyone on the site, have a good night.